Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today in this session, we will talk about the psychometric properties of a questionnaire. Now, what we mean by the psychometric properties of a questionnaire? The psychometric properties of a questionnaire mean the reliability, the validity, or the responsiveness of a question. In this session, we will discuss initially that what is reliability, what is validity, and then we will discuss on SPSS if we have a questionnaire, so how we will check and assess the reliability and validity of the questionnaire. We will interpret the SPSS results that either our questionnaire is valid or not, and our questionnaire is reliable or not. So first of all, we will discuss about the reliability. Reliability that may be of an instrument, that may be of a questionnaire. Reliability of an instrument means that when that instrument gives the measurements, there would be similar measurement if it is used again and again. For example, we will check the weighing machine, the machine would give the weight of a person. So a reliable weight machine will be that when it weighs the person and it gives the same result, the same weight of the person again and again when it is used repeated. But if it gives the weight, suppose the exact weight of the person is 72, but when he is weighing by the machine, it gives 70, and the next it gives 72 kg, and then it again gives 70, and then it gives 73. But there is no consistency in the results which has been given by that instrument, so that will be called as a non-reliable instrument. But reliability in context of a questionnaire that can be defined as the extent to which the questionnaire consistently and accurately measures what is intended to measure across different situations over time. In other words, we can say that a reliable questionnaire produces consistent results when administered multiple times to the same group of people or to different groups that theoretically show the same characteristics. Now, ensuring the reliability of a questionnaire, it is essential for the accurate data collection and analysis. In other words, we can say that if a questionnaire is lacking reliability, if a questionnaire is not reliable, so the obtained results may not accurately represent the underlying characteristic being measured, leading to the inaccurate conclusion and decision based on the data. And therefore, the researchers often conduct reliability testing during the questionnaire development phase to identify and to address any issues before the questionnaire is administered to a larger sample. Sometimes, even in the study, for example, a cross-section study, initially the questionnaire is used on small number of people, in which we call as a pilot study, to just check the psychometric properties. And if the psychometric properties, the reliability, it is in the acceptable range, then it is further used on large sample. But if the findings are, if the reliability is not in the acceptable range, then it means there is something wrong in the questionnaire. It needs some consideration. So in SPSS, the reliability or the internal consistency that is checked and assessed through the Cronbach alpha. Now, what is Cronbach alpha? Cronbach alpha is a statistical measure, or we can say that it is a statistical technique which is used to assess the internal consistency or reliability of a set of items in a questionnaire or in a scale. Cronbach alpha that provide us a single coefficient that may be from 0 to 1 that will be present between 0 and 1, which means that will be a one decimal Cronbach alpha coefficient that may be 0 0.9, 0 0.8, 0 0.7, 0 0.6 or less than that. That single coefficient indicates the degree to which the item within a scale or questionnaire correlate with each other. In other words, it measures how closely the related items are in capturing the same underlying construct. A higher Cronbach alpha indicates greater or excellent internal consistency, and as the Cronbach alpha is decreasing, the internal consistency will be also decreasing. If it is less than 0.5, then it is in the acceptable range, while this is also questionable between the 0.6 and 0.7. So a good reliable questionnaire is that in which the Cronbach alpha is present between 1 and 0.7. If it is 0.7 plus, it's a good reliable questionnaire. Now we will check in SPSS that how we can check the internal consistency or the Cronbach alpha. So we have questionnaire, the LIPS questionnaire, that is the lower extremity functional scale. If this is a questionnaire and it has that 20 questions, now we will check that either this questionnaire, we will just collect the data. We have already collected the data on this scale and this questionnaire, and we have put that data into the SPSS. These are those 20 questions. And this is sample data on at 23 participants. So we have 23 response. Now we will check that is this questionnaire is reliable or not. Check the reliability. We will click on the analyze, then scale, and then reliability analysis. We will click on the analyze, scale, and reliability analysis. Here we have alpha, we have a down menu, which with different types of the reliability, split half reliability, Decatman or parallel. A strict parallel, we will check the Cronbach alpha, which is that alpha. So by default, it is already alpha, so just leave it alpha. Now we will just transfer the questionnaire, the question of the questionnaire into the item box. So the procedure is you will click on the question which is going to transfer into the next box. One procedure is just click on that question, this variable, and click on that arrow. The second is simply double click on the questionnaire, and that will be entered into the next opposite box. One thing which we can do is another simple procedure is that as we are going to find the reliability of all the questionnaire, the complete questionnaire, so we can simply put all this questionnaire at once by selecting all, and we'll transfer all these variables into this. Then we will reshift the questions which are the demographic variables. As we know that the demographic variables, they are not the part of the questionnaire and they have nothing to do on the reliability or the validity of the scale or questionnaire. So we will again reshift into that parent box. So now these are those questions. which we have in the statistic. You will just click on the scale if item deleted and leave it each and everything in its own place. Click on continue and then click on OK. Now here we have, so in is 23, which means the sample size was 23. 100% are present there, it is 100%, and there is no such missing value. The main thing which we should focus on is the second table. This is the Cronbach alpha, and these are the number of items or the number of questions. If we check this questionnaire, we have 20 questions, and the Cronbach alpha is 0.955, which we consider as 0.9. So according to this table, it is above 0.9, which means the internal consistency or the reliability of this questionnaire is excellent. Now, if we look into the third table, specifically to this one, if this first question, if it is deleted, so what will be the effect on the reliability? So if the first question is deleted, then the Cronbach alpha will be 0.95. It means it will be further reduced. And if we check this each and every questions, if it is deleted, it will give the list are equivalent to make alpha, except this one, which is the 0.96. If this question is deleted, putting on your shoes on sock, then the reliability of this questionnaire will be increased from that 9.955 to 0.960. But that's okay. That's not as if it is 0.96, 0.92, or 0.98, that's all equal, and that all will give the excellent internal consistency. That was all about how we can check the reliability of a questionnaire. Now we will go and we'll discuss the validity of a questionnaire, and initially we will discuss that what we mean by the validity, and then after that we will just go for the procedure that how we can check the validity of a questionnaire on the SPSS. Like the reliability procedure, the procedure for the validity assessment, this is a little bit complex, and for that we need a table which we will discuss later. So validity of, now what we mean by the validity of a questionnaire. The validity of a questionnaire, that simply means that it is intent to measure what it is intent. It means जिस मकसद के लिए हम इसको यूज कर रहे हैं, if we are using the questionnaire for some purpose, and after the use we have obtained that purpose, we achieve that goal, then it will be called as a valid questionnaire. Now, how we will check the validity of the questionnaire? The validity of questionnaire can be checked through a table which we call as the critical value table for the degree of freedom, or for the critical value for the Pearson R, which is the Pearson correlation. And here, this row that indicates the confidence interval, if it is confidence interval is 95 and mostly it is 95, so we will use this column. And this is the degree of freedom. Now, degree of freedom, how we can calculate the degree of freedom? So that simple is the degree of freedom is equal to n minus 2. Now, what is n? N is the sample size, and we will just divide the 2 from the sample size. In our study, we have that sample we have 23 responses. So it means this is our sample size. So what we will do, we will just subtract minus 2 from the sample size, and our degree of freedom will be 21. Now, the Pearson coefficient for the degree of freedom 21 when the confidence interval is 95, so that will be according to that table. This is the second row is the for the 95 confidence interval, and this is the 21. So the exact value, the Pearson coefficient or the R value is 0.413 if the degree of freedom is 21 and the confidence interval is 95. Now, what does it mean? So you will just come again later toward this table. First of all, we will go to the SPSS, and for the SPSS, we will just sum all the questions which we are here from 1 to 20. Now, how we will sum all the data of all responses of the same question? For that, we will just click on the transform, then on the compute variable, we will give the name of the new variable, like this is the total. You will label it as well. That is the total. So of the that lips questionnaire. Click on the continue, and then we will just double click on one by one item, and then we will add them. So double click, it will be in that box, plus double click, plus we can also do that like that, clicking on this one, then by this arrow, then plus, and this, click on that arrow, then plus, or simply double click on the variable and it will be shifted there. Click on the plus, double click, plus, double click, plus, double click, plus, and we will add all of them. Now, what is the purpose of the addition of all these items? That will be discussed, and we will elaborate them later. And this one is the second last. And we will click on the OK. So we have that new variable with the name total. Here we will reduce the decimal from 2 to 0, and this is the label, the total score of the lips questionnaire. Is the lower extremity function scale. After that, Now we will just go for how we will assess the validity of the questionnaire and the same and the species. For that, we will click on the analyze, in correlate, and the bivariate. Analyze, correlate, and bivariate. Again, same procedure. We will shift all the variables of all the questions of the questionnaire one by one. By just simple double clicking. Or we can simply do that. We will select all of them, we will transfer to here, and then we will reshift the demographic variables. We will exclude them from the analysis. Variables which will be listed here, they will be all added into the analysis, while variables which will be on the left side, they will be excluded from the analysis, while variables on the in the box on the right side will be included in the analysis. We will click on the option and we'll do nothing. We'll continue. There should be checked the Pearson correlation should be total, and that should be checked the flag significant correlation, and we will click on OK. Now we will do for the total score. Here, this is that Pearson correlation coefficient, which is that Pearson R or R value, and that is 0.904. Similarly, the second question, for the third question, it is second question is 0.775, then it is 0.72, and so on. This is the p value. Now, how we will say that the question is in this questionnaire is valid or invalid. So this is the obtained value. This is the obtained value. This obtained Pearson R value should be greater than the value in the table. Now, what was the value, the Pearson R value in the table at the 21 degree of freedom, which in our questionnaire, when it is 95 confidence interval is used, it is 0.13, and the obtained value is 0.9, which is quite larger there and higher, greater than the critical value in the table. So it means this is a valid question. And if we check all these values, this value 0.7, 0.8, all these values, these are greater than the value in the table. It means all the questions, they are valid. Another parameter through which we can say that they are valid, they should be significant. They should be significant. As we have used 95 confidence interval, so it will be significant if the p value is the significant. This is the p value, and this is the total number of respondents. So if the p value is less than 0.05, then it will be considered as significant. We can see here, this is significant, this is significant, this is significant, significant, and this value, this is not only non-significant, but the R value or the Pearson R value is less than the value in the table. So it means this question is invalid, and this is, and except this question, all the 19 questions, they are not only significant, but they are also the value is greater than the value in the table. Now, what we will do if we have one invalid item, there are many procedures, so we can just check the data there may be some missing data, and if we go back to our data view, and if we click on this one, so there is no missing data, and there is all the data that is not only present, but they are all coded accurate. So it means the data, there is nothing wrong with the data. The second thing which we can do is that means the words of the question that may be very difficult, they may be very difficult to understand. And if we are writing a report on it, so the best thing is to report this question that out of the total questions, out of the total 20 questions, the 19 questions are valid, and this one question that was invalid as it was non-significant, as well as its R value, and the total of this question when it was, that is, which is the shoe, putting on your shoes. I'm sorry, this is the same question. When we were discussing the reliability, that if we delete this question, then the reliability will be increased. Again, it means that there is something wrong with this question. As deleting this question, as it is invalid, not only it will increase the validity of the questionnaire, all the items in the question will be valid, but it will also increase the reliability of the questionnaire. But the important thing is to check what is the impact of this question on this questionnaire. So, before going to delete a question from a questionnaire, it should be ensure that if we delete this question, so what will be the consequence? So, if you are going to report, you are writing a thesis or article on that, so you should report this question with this interpretation that it was non-significant. This is the p value. The total. This is the total score of that left. So we will just take these two values, and we will check that either in some of the there is missing data. So we will also check that. So we will check this row, and if we go within this row, there is no missing data. All the 23 responded have been, all the questions have been present. And if we check this table, this diagram is the carbon copy of this diagram. It means if you are reporting, you have just to report this one half, as this box and this box will be similar. This box and this box will be similar, this one and this one. So it means we have to report only this one. So on the basis of these findings, all the questions, they are valid except one question, and which is that putting on shoes and socks. We can also change the question. We can replace the question, and then we can check that what will happen to the validity. So that was all about the validity and reliability of the questionnaire. And the important thing is how we will report this finding. So that will be reported on the basis of this table, which is that's critical values for the Pearson R. If we in our case, the degree of freedom is 21. See the critical value at 21 degree of freedom in the table. So we checked at the 0.05. At as our confidence interval was 95, that was 0.143. In the example of question 1, the question 1 obtained Pearson R value is 0.9, which is more than the critical value at 21 degree of freedom in the table, which is 0.413, and is also highly significant. The p value was 0.0 more than, at least it is less than 0.001. So this is the procedure. If we have, if it is 0.00, it means that is very highly significant, and we will report this p value in our page in our document, like we will just write this value as, if this value we don't know what is the exact value, but it is less than, at least it is less than 0.001. So it is a valid question. Check all the items of the questionnaire one by one. That was all about the validity and reliability of the questionnaire. Hope you will have understanding. That was an easy and detailed description of the procedure on the SPSS. Thank you so much to all of you. Have a nice day.